I like how you made that, Dawson, and it was, not too scary. You had some fun things in there that everyone could enjoy.
Anyway,
Yeah.
You have to click. No. Yay.
live green, love green,
Nothing.
fish green.
Is that live green or live green?
Live?
Live.
Could be live or live. Okay, good. Live green would be like a plant.
Mm-hmm.
A live green bush. Live green. Live green would be like you're trying to recycle, you're trying to make sure everything's good.
Before starting some, how can I improve my spelling skill?
In English,
Yeah,
Improve what?
because when my files is on the
when
screen,
when you look through and it has it underlined, then you look at it again. That's how you improve your
my
spelling.
laptop is not underlining the
It's not?
mistake number.
No?
I think I should check. But anyway, my spelling skill is easy.
Something that I would recommend. It's something that I use when I feel like my phrasing is a little complicated. It's an online program called Grammarly,
Mm-hmm.
and like, all you have to do is just like copy your work and paste it into it, and it'll check for any like spelling errors, sentence complicated ways you phrase things, and give you suggestions on it. It's free to use too.
I can ask from technology, from tools.
Yeah,
Grammarly,
until it starts growing on you.
Grammarly, that's a free website, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, using special tools. Because sometimes, even if you're not, sometimes things will get misspelled just because of the way you type. You might type 2 letters wrong, so they can get misspelled. So if you can plug it into something that will underline, that's important.
My reading is helping me a bit, but reading is helping me when I read the words I have seen a lot of time, and I can remember.
But it's very difficult. English is very difficult because there are so many exceptions to the rules. So that's why we have spelling bees, the spelling competitions. So, okay, so tell us about yours, Sam.
Okay, the topic is live green, love green, think green. And this is all about energy in the plant. Okay, so I'm Sam, and I wanted to try to pronounce my name. I'm gonna try.
One,
Yeah. Yay! Be great. Okay, next page. I'm from Taiwan, which is a small island. I live here, but my university is at here. It's pretty far.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how long does it take you to get from your home to your university?
By car, it would take 4 hours. Yeah. It's like here to Tennessee.
yeah, maybe you can stay in your study. In your study destination, could you stay? Maybe in the apartment, in the
Dormitory?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. But I can do that, but somehow it's pretty far for me to go back to home. Like holidays.
So do you usually take a car, or do you take a train or a bus, or?
I take high-speed rail. Okay, next page.
How long does it take by high-speed rail?
Like 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And this is CEFR, and mostly in Taiwan it has those students who is grade 7 to 9. which is in junior high school. Their ability is like A2 to B1. And this lesson plan is designed for a class of 24 junior high school students. Junior high school ESL students. Yeah, okay, next page. And this is the overview. I'm not gonna, go through it, so that's just next page.
Overview in lesson plan. What is the function of overview in lesson plan?
Sorry?
Is it lesson plan or unit plan? Unit plan.
The overview is just to kind of tell you what is gonna be taught in that section.
Yeah.
And so he uses this to give more details.
Is it not lesson plan? It is unit plan. Yes.
Yeah, but with a unit plan, you have lessons within the unit. So this is just an overview of, just in general, what he's gonna teach,
Yeah.
I like a summary.
a summary.
Yeah. And this is a standards and objectives from Alabama Course of Study Science. So in this case, we have Science Grade 4 content standards, and we will let students to use evidence to explain the relationship of the speed of an object to the energy of that object, and plan and carry out investigations, and provide evidence, demonstrate that different objects can absorb, reflect, and or conduct energy. So, yeah, next page. And investigate to determine changes in energy, and design, construct, and test a device that changes energy from one form to another, and compile information to describe how the use of energy derived from natural, renewable, and non-renewable sources affects the environment. Next page. And this is Environmental Science Grade 11 Content Standards, and we'll use the first and the fourth as 14th. Investigate and analyze the use of non-renewable energy sources and renewable energy sources, and analyze cost-benefit ratios of competing solutions for developing, conserving, managing, recycling, and reusing energy and mineral resources to minimize impacts in natural systems. Next. And English language arts, and we will use grade K to 3 content standards. We will let students to have a conversation and discussion in pairs, small groups, or whole class settings. And we'll use knowledge of phoneme, graphing, correspondence, and word analysis skills, and expand their background knowledge and build vocabulary, and use digital and electric tools like iPad, iPhones, and utilize the writing process to plan, draft, revise, edit, and publish writings in various journals. Okay, next page. And use context clues to determine meanings of unfamiliar spoken or written words. Okay, next page. And about learning objectives, I would use Bloom's taxonomy of learning domains. So we have cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So next page.
Is it Bloom taxonomy?
So we'll hope students can be able to share their views and work together, and students can describe relevant environmentally friendly actions, design, plan, implement, and we'll help students to find environmental problems and observe changes in the environment, and to understand the causes and possible dangers of environmental problems, and then propose improvement plans. Next page. And I will introduce the teaching methods in this unit plan. The first one is problem-based learning. And next page. Next one is collaborative learning approach. And the third one is situated learning. Yeah. Next page. So in first day and second day, we'll let students to understand and avoid behaviors that create environmental problems and the inconvenience caused by the lack of energy, and understand what energy sources are available in the country, identify and name the types of renewable and non-renewable energy, and discuss the advantages and disadvantages. Next page. So these are the vocabulary and scaffolding, things like that. And next page. And next page. So in warm up of the first period, we'll have them to greetings, and teacher would ask, do you know any kinds of energy? And student would can answer the possible answers. Yeah. And they can either use first language or second language to answer those questions. Next page. And after the questions, we'll let them to know the energy, and we'll have a video to increase students' comprehension of the contents. And then we'll have a worksheet, and we'll have a discussions with other students using either first language or second language to discuss what are energy developed in your country. And next page. So then I will introduce renewable and non-renewable energy, and I'll provide visual aids to help students to quickly realize the sample of the energy. Next page. And I will let them to pronounce renewable and non-renewable by segmenting the syllable. Next page. Like, renewable have 3 syllables, and I would explain what is renewable energy. Next page. And these are examples of renewable energy sources, and I'll use visual aids like photos to help them to understand. Next page. And this is non-renewable. So non means no, re is again. So non-renewable. And next page. The Sam will use some of the images to help them to understand. Next page. And after the introduction to renewable and non-renewable, ask them, how do you go to school by tram or by bus, and how do you get to the school, why like or dislike it, and is it renewable or non-renewable? And next page. Okay, next page. Oh yeah, this is the worksheet, and I'll let them to write on it. Okay, next page. So in the presentation part, I will introduce solar energy and nuclear energy. And I will say the target term in second language first, and then students try to use their first language to describe or label, and the teacher will repeat a word, phrase, or sentences in second language. And students must answer possible advantages or disadvantages, and then teacher will explain why is like economical and stable or something else. Yeah, next page. Next page. Next page. And this is second day, second period, and I will first review what is solar and nuclear energy as the previous lesson. And next page. And then I will introduce wind energy. And next page. Yeah. And if students cannot understand what is turbine, just show them the photo and then they can understand. So next page. And hydroelectric energy and thermal power. Yeah. Next page. Next page. Next page. And in the practice part, I played again with students. It's called the big wind blows. So have you played big wind blows?
I think this game.
Yeah.
This picture.
There will be a student or teacher in the middle, and then it will, okay, next page. It will, like, the strong wind blows, blow what? Blow, next page. Okay, oh, sorry, okay, back to it. They'll have 5 cards and in their hand, and next page. So the teacher will say, the strong wind blows, and student will say, blow what? Blow, next page. The first is the energy that can be used to generate electricity, and the energy that people are using, and when generating electricity, it will produce polluting energy. And when generating electricity, no polluting energy will be produced, and the main renewable energy for future development. So that's the practice for energy. Okay. So in the second period, there's a wrap up, and we will mention that the energy is divided into renewable and non-renewable, and ask students about the problems of non-renewable energy. And that's all for the second period. Okay. So in third and fourth period, students can be alert to the energy crisis and examine their daily habits and propose behavioral changes. And students will realize that countries around the world are interconnected and that we must work together. And those are some of the scaffoldings. Okay, next page. So in the warm-up part, we'll let that them to guess the prices between 10 years ago and now. So next page. Like we'll let them to guess 1,000 cubic feet natural gas, and then this is the answer. And then next page. This is 2022, and the next page. There will be like $9. And next page. So this is from United States natural gas industrial price, and this is a chart to let them realize the increase and decrease. Next page. So after warm up, in presentation part, teachers would let them to be aware of energy crisis, and natural gas prices are rising because demand outstrips supply. And next page. So we'll let them to see if natural gas is renewable and non-renewable. So the answer will be next page, non-renewable. And next page. Yeah, next page. Next page. And so I will introduce the concept of energy crisis. So energy crisis means that we don't have enough energy, so that the price of energy has raised. So next page. Yeah. Okay, next page. And in second part of the presentation, we'll let them to watch a video about China rationing, energy rationing, and ask questions related to the content of the video. Next page. And then we'll have students to use iPads to search online for the impact of energy crisis, and to and invite 3 students to share on stage each for 1 minute. Okay, and those are scaffoldings. Okay, next page. And we'll mention the recent war between Russia and Ukraine. And next page. Yeah, and we'll ask what they happened. So apparently they have energy crisis. Next page. Yeah, those are the title of CNN and BBC News. Next page. And in the wrap up part in the 3rd period, we'll let them to experience when power is out. So the teacher will turn off the lights, and then to ask if there's no electricity, what will change our lives, to let them to experience, to let them to engage in the activity. Okay, next page. Okay, so this is the 4th period. So this is a activity, and we will divide into 2 teams, and 1 team with a skill. In the beginning, the skill lean entirely on the side of non-renewable energy. And then each student with a green card, and only one student can get on stage at a time determined by their speed of raising hands. Staying on the stage, students should provide an energy-saving action so that the students can put a green card into the transfer, and whichever team balances the skills first wins. Okay, next page. So, in this part, the teacher will first demonstrate and provide students to come on stage to share their same structure. So those are scaffoldings. Next page. And then the wrap-up part, we'll let them to watch a video about coal, what's wrong with coal, and then to the conclusion that Russia restricts natural gas exports, other countries intend to use coal instead. Let students to think whether it is beneficial to the planet and is there any other better way. Okay, next page. Yeah, those are the conversation. Okay. So in 5th and 6th period, we will ask students to be able to identify environmental issues and the ways to reduce carbon footprint, and to practice environmental protection actions in daily life. So those are scaffoldings. Yeah. And I'll show them a photo comparing polar bears in 2009 and 2019. So that's it. That's in the next page. Yeah. What's the difference between these 2 photos? Yeah. Next page. And then we will let them to watch a video to pay attention to the polar bear's action and change of glasses. Yeah. Next page. And through these questions, students are asked to think about the reasons for changes in the natural environment in the video. Okay, next page. Yeah, next page. Next page. And this is the presentation part of the 5th period. And guess what leads to global warming? And I'll introduce the concept of carbon dioxide and carbon footprint. Okay, next page. So these are, this is carbon footprint. Carbon plus footprint equals carbon footprint. Okay, next page.
That's science math.
So those are the examples of carbon footprint. Okay, next page. Next page. Next page. So yeah, the definition and life cycle of carbon footprint, and I'll ask if it is more carbon emissions better or less is better to let seems to think. Okay, yeah, next. Okay, this is from the average American's carbon emissions. This is from Union of Concerned Scientists. And so we'll like them to think about how can we reduce carbon footprint. So these are vocabulary that we'll teach in sentence, and those are scaffoldings on the next page. Public transport versus car and scooter, and local in season. Yeah, those are terms these like unplugged and second hand. And there will be like a self-assessment form. Students can understand the carbon footprint of their own lives, so, to boost their self-awareness. So next page. This is the self-assessment carbon footprint calculator worksheet. So let them to choose their answers and then add up to their points. Yeah. Next page. And in sixth period, we'll let them to discuss and exchange their thoughts with teachers and classmates. And they're encouraged to go onto the stage and share their thoughts. Next page. And in this practice part, we'll let them to have a quiz on a Google form, and the class are divided into 4 groups, and each group stands one sentence to the stage to decide which direction the question will be given to each group. Okay, next page. So these are rules, and next page. And we'll spin it to let them to answer for example, like transportation or food or housing or clothing. Next page. So they'll have their QR code, and then they can answer their questions on the Google form. Yeah. And in the production part, teacher will send out worksheets reminding students to complete questions for group discussions to explore the energy conservation and carbon reduction proposals of each group in depth. So they need to think about why, how, and what. Next page. Yeah, those are the tips. So in 7th and 8th period, students are able to describe relevant environmentally friendly actions that redesign, plan, and implement environmental protection actions, and share their views and work together. And those are scaffoldings. Yeah. And first, in the warm-up part, we use the videos, and then what should we reduce? Ask them what should we reduce and what impact will it have on our lives. Yeah, next page. So there's a worksheet of carbon footprint pledge. So next page. So they will pledge to reduce my carbon footprint by walking or eating more vegetables, blah blah blah, something like that. Next page. And so in this stage, they will have to have a proposal. So they have to, they will ask to, what are the methods from the perspective of eating, using, living, walking, and playing. So they'll brainstorming, they'll use mind map to explore ideas. Next page. Like this. And next page. This is an example of the brainstorming of reducing carbon safe energy. Next page. So they'll have their brainstorming. After that, they'll get ready for their poster. So, so they have to collect their proposals on a piece of paper, and which will be revised by the teacher. And they are allowed to use iPad to search online. So these are the example that they will probably write next page, like this, and next page. And in 8th period, they will have to present their poster. And after that, they will do the group presentation rubric. Next page. Yeah, like this. Okay, next page. And the wrap-up part in 8th period, they will be required to complete a I'm in Green Hero worksheet as a homework and review the previous lesson. Okay. Like this is the worksheet, the homework. Oh, next page. So in 9th and 10th period, they're asked to practice an implementation of energy resources, environmental protection actions, and be able to share their views and work together. So those are scaffoldings. Okay, next page. And after they complete their worksheet, they will share their actual actions and records with each other in the group. So those are scaffoldings. Like I, blah, blah, what day, a Monday or Tuesday, and next page. Oh, those are visual aids for students to understand what is action, what is record. Next page. And they'll have, after sharing their worksheet, they'll have, in this practice part, they will have to do a recording assignment to record their actual actions, doing something green. So this is an example. Hello everyone, my name is, and today I would like to give a short report of one. So they will say, I did something on what day. So they'll post, next page. They'll post their recording on their Facebook group page. And, yes, next page. And they'll have, students will press the like button to rank or select 5 energy saving masters. However, other classmates who it should be other students who have not been selected do not need to be discouraged. You already proved that you are a little energy saver with your actions. Okay, next page. And this is the last part in 9th period. We'll have a Monopoly game, and I will design like questions be like, what are the energy sources in the world, and what are the renewable energy sources? Something like this. And yes, next page. Those are the Monopoly record. So they will choose one card, draw one card, and they write it down in the boxes. Okay, next page. And in the last period, they'll have a paper comprehension test. So it would take like 20 to 25 minutes. And after the test, the teacher will help students kind of clarify the concept if necessary. Next page. So those are the test paper. Yeah, next page. Next page. Yeah, reading comprehension. And next page. Another reading comprehension. Yeah. Thank you.
How many pages in total?
That's 125.
Oh, man. Congratulations.
You did a lot. I like how you have a lot of places where they can interact. and they could use their first language to help them understand what you were talking about. And then there were a lot of places where they would do a group work, and then you had, I like how you had that group evaluation where they could say how well they did on each thing. So you had a lot of good evaluations in there, a lot of good talking time. So that's good.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's a lot. But, you know, it's a good project for that young age. And it can be adapted up to older grades. Just depending on what materials you use. So that's good.
Is it for English learners? Yes.
Yes.
Is it
For
it belongs to English language art or science class?
it will be either science class or ESL class.
It would depend on what group they were teaching. It could be that they're learning English, but they're learning the subject science. So they're blending them together so that the students will learn English words for these science terms. So they're learning academic language. And it's kind of your penguin argument. See, like for example, right here, and they're reading about electricity, but we can have a discussion about electricity anywhere. So this is important to be able to read these terms, like electricity and fuel, and those are common words that if you were in if you go to the gas station for gas, you talk about fuel. If you go into your house and the power doesn't work, you have to know the word electricity. So it's common words too. So it would just depend on how the school was set up. And if they're using this as a sheltered English class for science, or if they're using this as a topic to learn an English class to help them with academic vocabulary. So it depends on how it's set up. Because it's good to include academic vocabulary.
Yeah.
So, good. Yeah. Did you have any interesting experiences this semester you want to tell us about?
You mean the international events?
Yeah, or.
I have been to homecoming parade. In the event just that us to hold a flag and walk in downtown and then go back to the campus. That's it.
So they don't have parades in your college in Taiwan?
Oh, we didn't do that. Cause
This is your first time at a parade?
yeah, and we, say hi to everyone.
Yeah, I saw you.
Really?
Parade, yeah. I was at the very end. Usually, their parades, they start in front of Rogers Hall, and you know where the road is divided?
Mhm.
Usually they start there, and then they go around to Pine Street. But this time they started on Pine Street and they came back around, and
Oh,
and
I
they're like-
see.
and then they changed it, they didn't tell anyone they were gonna change it.
Oh.
So, we were disappointed, because we're used to seeing it first and we had to wait, so. Oh well. If I had known, we would've gone to Pine Street first.
And your distance story from your home to your education building remind me one thing. My university was in the capital and my home was in the region, and it was 5 hours, more than 5 hours distance for taxi, for cars, and usually I used to go my home every 2 weeks or once a month or something for 4 years from 2016 2020, and in 2020 I had marriage, and after marriage I had to I start to go every weekend And my grandfather said, it is too far, it's 5 hours, why you are coming every week? My grandfather and my father was kidding.
Yeah, they understand, they got married.
Yeah, interesting. That's why it depends on your mood, your case. Sometimes 5 hours taxi driving or distance is too far, too long, but sometimes it is not.
Mhm. It depends on your motivation, why do you want to go home? So, yeah, that's,
I think I can kind of relate to that too in a way. Like, I used to commute from campus to my hometown, Tennessee. And although it was just an hour-long drive, it was still an hour-long drive Monday through Friday, every day. Go to get to campus, then to get back. And so it was about 10 hours worth of gas every week. But, you know, it was like, this was college. It's a very motivating thing to push towards.
Yeah, it depends on the motivation.
yeah, it depends on the type of transportation you have. You know, if you're going to, like you were saying, the high-speed train, 2 hours, if you can just sit there and read your book or
Yeah.
study, then that's not a problem, but if you have to drive yourself for 5 hours, that's very tiring. So,
This may seem a little off topic, but it's something I want to ask. Have you ever studied on the train before?
Stay on the train.
Yeah, like on your way to college and back.
do you study while you're riding?
Let me see. It's rare, but I did it before. That is rare. I usually watch YouTube. I love watching YouTube.
Does it like ever get a subtle feeling of motion sickness when you're looking at your phone for a while?
You mean you
Does
would?
it make you sick on the train? Does the movement make you sick to read?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sometimes.
So that's why you don't study on the train, because the movement makes you sick.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So sometimes, like if you're on a plane, it's hard to
Focus.
concentrate and focus.
Mhm.
It can be very difficult. For me, it has to be very interesting reading material, else I can't focus, because it's loud.
My long experience in train was 27 hours in one sitting.
Oh man.
Yeah, 27 hours from my capital, from my country capital to the capital of Kazakhstan.
You mean you take 27 hours from your country to the US?
No,